Hi, I'm Alex, and in the spring of 2025, I was dealing with some pretty challenging mental health issues. My doctor told me to get outside more, disconnect from work, and get some exercise. So I took that literally, and I decided to try to ride my bike to the East Coast. My plan was to ride to Colorado, road trip with my wife to St. Louis, and catch rail trails to the East Coast. What actually happened is that I made it to Montana, caught a cold, and decided to fly home from Jackson, Wyoming to recover. But I still had an amazing adventure along the way. It covered 31 days from home, 24 days on my bike. I rode over 1,000 miles and I climbed over 37,000 feet. My mental health definitely improved. Here I go. May 15th, I'm dipping my tire into the Pacific Ocean near my home in Seattle. When I play this clip, you can already hear my voice shaking. You can tell I'm already emotional. In fact, I realize I can't hide it in the video, so I just decided to call it out. Start this adventure. I'm already emotional. I love it. While I make my way out of Seattle, I know just two things. One, that I've done this route at least 4 other times, and I can really just focus on the ride today. And two, that I have no idea what's after day 1, but I really need to find out. Alright, I just knocked out my first 12 miles of the ride. I stopped to take a break in a park just before I cross over the I-90 bridge. I'm almost out of Seattle. Wind's pretty still, and here I go. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. This brings out emotions. Just getting the first day started is such an emotional journey. All the things I had to do to get to this point, all the sacrifices I've had to make, and this has been a dream for me. I've been thinking about this since I was 20 years old, and here I'm doing it finally. So if I could go back in time and tell that younger me at the park 2 things, I'd tell him 1, record more of this trip, keep that camera rolling, and 2, I'd tell him to bring a handkerchief because you're going to cry more on this trip. You're going to cry so much that your gloves are going to run out of places to wipe your tears and your nose. I know these trips demand a why. It's easy to stop doing hard things every day when you don't have a solid why. And I'll be honest with you, I had the wrong why when I started. I rode out of anger. I rode my bike because I always promised myself that before I gave up on whatever this life is, I owe myself a long bike ride across the country. And I'll be even more honest with you now, I still don't have a great why. All I can tell you after this experience is that my soul needed this trip more than I could have ever imagined. I needed to be reminded of what my body and mind were capable of. I needed to make decisions for myself. I needed to be out of touch. I needed to record this experience and make it art. I needed to get broken open, and I pushed myself to my mental and physical limits. And I recorded as much of it as I could. Just wrapped up a pretty big climb. Taking a little break. I'm right by I-90, just out of Issaquah heading to Preston. That's the freeway, pretty noisy, I-90. But I'm making good time. I'm feeling pretty good. I did some training this year, prep for this ride. I've done this route twice already on this bike. And I gotta say, knock on wood, I feel better than all of my other training rides right here. So it feels nice to put that time in and get the results. All right, I'm back on trail. Last night I went 52 miles, climbed 2,400 feet, ended in North Bend, Washington, where my wife picked me up, took me back home so I could have one more night in my bed, hang out with my cat and my favorite person, my wife. And then she dropped me back off at North Bend this morning. I'm back on the Snoqualmie Valley Trail, heading to Rattlesnake Lake, where I will try to pick up the Palouse Cascade Trail and get over Snoqualmie Pass today. There is a campground at 30 miles and then another one at 40 miles. We'll see how I feel today. It's supposed to be a cold night. But yeah, it's nice to be back on trail. This is the real start. No more going home and cheating for a bit. This is it. While I show off my favorite new sunglasses and the skull and neck cap that I love to wear, I want to talk about that last clip, the one where I tell you what I'm going to do for the day. I didn't realize it at the time, but now that I rewatch these videos, I see that this is the first day of the unknown. This is the first day where I'm not sure how it ends. I just have some ideas. And what you saw in that last clip is me reminding myself of my smaller goals. I've bikepacked before. My longest trip was 6 days on the Cross Washington route, but I know that I have to focus on the day ahead of me because looking farther than that can be daunting. I'm on the Snoqualmie Valley Trail, heading to Rattlesnake Lake. It's a beautiful day. The sun's out. I need to put sunscreen on soon. I woke up this morning at home and we started getting the truck ready, and we realized this morning that someone broke into my truck. They just kind of took cheap stuff, nothing really of value, nothing that can't be replaced, but it's always something. There's always something in life that tries to prevent you from doing adventures. And I've talked about this with my wife. Just one of the lessons you have to learn is to recognize what's important and what's not, and shut out the things that just aren't important, so that you can push yourself physically. And that's what I have to do this morning. But that's what the purpose of this trip is. Empty my head, figure out what's important in my soul. So once again, tested, but I'm here. As cool as this bridge is, I know what's coming, and it's even cooler. Before I took this trip, I was diagnosed with acute depression. I was medicated for that depression on a low dose of antidepressants. I've never been medicated before for a mental health issue. I had the usual fears of medication. Is this going to change who I am? What does this mean? If my experience is altered, does that make me a different person? What was eventually explained to me is that medication is like wearing glasses, which I do, and my glasses do not make life change for me, but they offer me a different experience that has more clarity because things are tuned a little more clear for me. And I accepted that explanation under one condition, that if things did not improve for me, or if I ever needed more medication, I would take this bike trip. I realized early on that if I took this trip, that it was more than likely going to create a one-way door in my life. I realized that treating your mental health by taking a bike ride was going to upset people that think they owned my time. But I needed to change my perspective. I was fighting an inner battle from the same foothold year after year. I needed to get uncomfortable and change my perspective to really figure out what was feeling wrong in my life. The truth is that this trip added new problems to my life. It forced me to make room by pushing out stupid shit in my life that no longer mattered. Slack messages, text messages, meeting reminders, all that noise that flashes on my phone. All that noise of my daily life had to get pushed out to make room for eating enough, drinking enough, pedaling for hours. Everyone knows the first step to cleaning out a messy closet is pulling everything out of that closet. And my closet was definitely messy. All right, I made it to Lake Easton State Park. The Garmin says I did 48 miles and climbed 2,500 feet today. Pretty knackered. Just ate as much as I could eat. I really couldn't eat a bunch. Hard day. The climb to Palouse just was slow and grindy. When I finally got out of the Snoqualmie Tunnel, I just pushed to Easton, and I might have tapped myself out a little bit more than I wanted to. So I think tomorrow's going to be a light day. But I'm here. I made it. It's a nice spot. It was $46 to rent this place. The showers were free, and they do have an electrical hookup over there. So I'm going to charge some stuff tomorrow and just take it easy tomorrow. But another almost 50-mile day. All right, I got to the end of the Palouse to Cascades where the tunnel that I showed earlier on the map is closed. So the detour here is to my right. And that little climb up there to that first peak, not this mountain.